I've tried my dog food before.
What?
I have.
I think a lot of people do that.
Totally.
I wanted to see it. I was like, is this like nasty? Like the wet stuff. Oh, when I was a little kid, I ate the dog food.
Oh, wonderful. Maybe that's
wanted to
explaining
try it.
things.
I was like 8 years old and I was like,
That's why you're not getting pregnant.
hey guys, it's Elise.
Hey, it's Mary, and this is my friend Julie.
Hi.
Hi. So I met Julie a couple years ago at this infertility, what do we call it? Workshop in Baton Rouge, where she
Get that
lives. And she's got some pretty cool stuff to share with us, so we wanted to interview her. So this is the Julie Liberto interview.
Oh, dun dun dun.
So, Jules, does anyone call you that?
Huh?
Okay, I thought it might have been the first.
You're not special.
I'm not special anymore. So, tell us a little bit about yourself first. Like, where you from? You like married and stuff?
Okay. My name is Julie Liberto. I'm from Baton Rouge. I'm 29 years old. I am married to a very handsome young man. He recently just left a job as a narcotics detective with BRPD.
Dang.
Yeah, and he got a job with the federal government, so he'll be doing some fun stuff with them.
Sounds pretty cool. And his name is
Vinnie.
Vinnie. Cool.
Yeah.
He even has a
So,
cool name,
I
like a
know.
cool cop name.
Like,
Yeah.
he could have his own sitcom. I don't know. Anyway.
Anyway.
Julie and Vinnie show. Okay, sorry. Moving on. So, tell us about, like, when your cycle started and, like, just stuff that was going on in your life. Like,
All your female goods.
Your female
Okay.
goodies.
So I started my cycles when I was probably about in the fifth grade.
That's good enough.
Fifth-ish. And I, as a child, actually, like in middle school, I can remember like going to summer camp, horribly heavy cycle. I would pack several pairs of underwear and shorts
Just in
every
case.
day. No,
Oh,
because I
because
needed them, because that's how heavy my period was for like what?
Just
How old are you?
coming
Like
through.
12, 13 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Like,
How was your
it
pain then?
I remember always having cramping. I don't remember my pain getting really severe until high school. I remember one time specifically like laying on the ground in my French classroom in the fetal position before class
I
started.
feel like so many women have that memory. We just, like, don't talk about it.
It was like a
That's not normal.
Yeah.
It's not.
FYI.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be sucking your thumb and rocking yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was a freshman in high school. Somebody was like, "Put your feet over your head." You know, I was like 16, so
What?
it like scrunches your body. You know, like so it's like similar to the fetal position where you're.
Oh, and that's
so if your
supposed to
feet are
help,
over your
okay.
head, you're like scrunched your body.
Were you like
so-
that every month, or would that just happen
No,
occasionally?
it was. I usually had pretty severe. In high school, I had pretty severe cramping, but not that severe every time. It varied, and it has varied my entire life.
So when did you seek treatment, I should say, like to a regular gynecologist at some point for the pain, or?
So my mom actually brought me to the pediatrician when I was in high school, and he wanted to put me on birth control. And my
The pediatrician?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, I was like 16 or 17. He's like, well, the only thing that'll help that is birth control. And my parents were very conservative, and they're like, you're not putting our 16-year-old daughter on birth control. So that was that. Like, nothing we can do, basically. So
So did you go to a gynecologist at some point?
when I was 18, I went to a gynecologist. I mean, at that point, I thought everything was normal. I wasn't different than...
So what did he tell you?
He didn't really tell me anything. I mean, he did my yearly checkups and...
So the fact that you were having extremely abnormal bleeding and occasionally extremely painful periods was just kind of...
normal. So when we started trying to conceive, I had started like just tracking my cycle. Just like started my period when I finished my period. And after about 6 months, you know, of us trying to conceive, I'm like, this is really weird. I've had like 21-day cycles, 36-day cycles, 28-day cycles.
That's cool that you even had the awareness to like
this
even
wasn't
think
great.
about
This wasn't
cycles.
charted.
Yeah.
You were just trying to
Yeah,
your own
and I
way
was
of
like,
doing it.
Like it's like innately you knew something.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so I was like, that seems weird, right? Like that to me that felt like a normal reaction. Like this doesn't look right.
Right.
And I've heard of people being, I know you're supposed to have a 28-day cycle, and people being like, I'm like clockwork, blah blah blah. So I was like, yeah, I know, right? I'm sorry, do what?
Yeah.
So I brought up to him one day that my cycles varied. I was like, is that a concern? And at this point, we already knew that there were issues with my husband. And he was like, no, that's totally normal. And I was like, I mean, that's what my gynecologist said. I saw him, at that point, I had been seeing him for about 5 years. I saw him for 10 years until recently I stopped seeing him. But, I mean, I had no reason not to believe him.
Right,
Like,
absolutely.
You know, he's a gynecologist.
Yeah,
so
he's
you
a
do
doctor.
what he said.
I know he's a really good, like, OB. I really trusted him. So I was like, okay, well, if you say it's normal, then it's normal, right?
Right.
So I now know different.
So how did you find out about Napro then? So you just kept going along trying to get
Yeah,
pregnant?
like how long
What's
were you
happened?
trying when
Yeah.
you kind of like...
So when we started trying to get pregnant, my husband had a doctor in the past that said, you may have problems conceiving, but you're only 20 whatever years old, so it's not really an issue right now. So when we started trying to conceive, I decided, I was like, okay, let me like go like check up my body. Like let me go to my doctor, my regular doctor, go to my gyno, like get everything done, get on top of...
check all the...
Yeah,
check,
like make sure everything's good to go, everything's looking good. After 6 months of not conceiving, he did the test, and my husband had a 0% normal sperm. Most men have between an average of 3 and 15% normal. Turns out it was actually supplements he was taking from the mall. Like, like, you know.
Which, it's amazing because the general public believes that there is no cure for male infertility. And there's actually a lot that you can do.
He got off, well,
It's just crazy, like, what
is.
stuff can, like, do to your body.
So what brought you, like how did you find out about Napro?
So what kind of led you,
Yeah,
like,
what
why
led
did
you?
you even want to seek out another answer, I guess?
So we actually weren't looking for another answer. We got to the point, my gyno said, you're perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with you. Because I asked him, like, do we need to test me? He's like, no, you're fine, it was him. Like, you're going to get pregnant, let's put you on Clomid. We did Clomid, didn't get pregnant. So next step is IUI. And I knew it was against the Catholic Church, I'm Catholic, but I wanted a baby. So I decided to go ahead and do it. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. I don't want to like over dramatize it. It was more an emotional experience than like a physical, although it was very uncomfortable. But so I was actually in a really bad place after that. And like even before we got the results back, we ended up not getting pregnant from it. And like that week when we found out we weren't pregnant, I was really pissed off and I didn't want to do it again. But at that point we were told like these are your options, right? I was following the Baton Rouge Diocese of Family and Marriage office on Facebook. And they posted about this infertility workshop.
That's where we ended up meeting.
Mm-hmm. That's where we met. Yeah.
It was cool. Yeah.
And they had different speakers on different things. And one of the speakers was Dr. Chasuk, who is a Napro doctor.
In Baton Rouge.
In Baton Rouge, yeah. And he started talking about it. And my husband looked at me and he goes, this is what we need to be doing. And I was
Wait, so your husband was
from the
there with
van.
you?
Yeah, it was a couples thing. He just sat there and he explained everything, and it made so much
Right, I
sense.
remember
It's
that
so
talk.
scientific and logical, like
It's
that.
like, why is everybody not doing
Right.
this? Like, okay, clearly this guy knows that it's not normal
He
that
gave
I'm
a
having
really
all
good
these
talk.
crazy
Yeah,
symptoms. And he's just very matter of fact though. And that sung to my husband. And I sat there the whole time like, okay, how am I going to talk my husband into switching to this?
But guys are so logical. So when something
Yeah.
makes sense, like when something is like, this makes sense, like this is a logical reason, they're like right with it,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
amazing.
I'm
Get
like
him
literally like wheels are turning and he looks at me and he goes, we need to do this.
Oh my god!
And I'm like,
that is so awesome.
Okay, no, yeah, me too. Like, I didn't not go back because I didn't get pregnant. I did not go back because I don't want to conceive a child like that.
Well, and plus, there was obviously something going on in your body that, so
Right.
how are you going to, even if you were to get pregnant with the IUI, like,
I don't think I would have.
Well,
Yeah,
you probably
know
I
what
feel
I
the same
know
way.
now.
but
I
for
feel the
those
same
people
way.
who might, you
Yeah.
know, it's not, the problems are still there.
Well,
You know what I
and
mean?
like for me, let's say I had conceived, which now I know would have been pretty unlikely. My body doesn't do the things it's supposed to do to sustain a pregnancy.
Right.
So,
how would you would have been?
and no one would have diagnosed that in his office.
So just so that we
Right,
understand now, like, so so you're like, okay, we got to do this Napro thing. Take us from there. What did you do?
Yeah,
So
you
we
went to
actually-
the workshop. You were
So
like,
we're
yes.
at the workshop and
Team, go.
again, yeah, my husband's like, we're doing this. Let's go. So we like straight up walked up to Dr. Chas and we were like, hey,
Oh my gosh, that's
where
so
are your new patients? We haven't called yet.
Oh my
You know,
gosh.
so he's like, just make an appointment and we'll chat. We're like, great, fabulous. Call my Creighton practitioner to start charting because we had a lot of questions.
Of course.
And my, husband,
yeah.
Of course.
my husband's like real into like getting tons of details and everything.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So were you satisfied with the information, like with the difference that when you
Oh my
sat
gosh.
with Dr. Chasuk,
Night and day.
as opposed to the other gynecologist, he's
Well,
like, this is
It
not
was the
normal.
first time in my life that there wasn't something wrong, like a medical issue, where the doctor just sat and talked to me about what was going on. Other than that, it's like in and out 15 minutes. Like, to get a doctor's time, you have to, like, and I've never had a major medical issue, but, like, you know, my dad had cancer. Well, they sit there and they talk to you for 45 minutes about it. Okay, well, your regular doctor doesn't do that with you, but Dr. Chasuk did. He answered all our questions. He brought out charts and he gave us reading materials, and he's like, why don't we get started with you doing this based on what I know about you and your past. And I had been keeping track of, like, the length of my cycles, so I had that
information
for about a year and a half. So, like, even though it wasn't the charting, it was
It was something.
starting
Yeah,
point.
that's more than
he
most
was able
women
to
have.
see a couple patterns in my cycle. So then we just kind of got it started from there.
That's amazing. And so you ended up going to Dr. Hemphill.
I did. Dr. Chasuk is wonderful, but he only does Napro part-time. Dr. Hemphill moved into...
Which she's an actual surgical gynecologist.
Yeah, she's
a
surgical
He couldn't
gynecologist.
have gone done right
He could,
anyway.
yeah, and when I heard she was in town, and all I heard were, like, these rave reviews and how wonderful she was. But once she had insurance, I was on her roster. I actually went into her office and I sat down with her. She started to talk, and I was like, okay. I was like, let's just hold on 1 second. I said, I'm going to do what you need me to do. I just need you to know where I'm at. And I told her the same thing I told my husband. I said, I have been trying to get pregnant for 3 years, and I've never gotten pregnant. So I said, when you're ready and comfortable with me having surgery, I want to have surgery because something's not right. And I know that. Like, I know there's something not right with my body. And she goes, okay.
Let's get
I was like,
did she bring out her book?
yeah, she's like, I'll get her to come in. She wanted to talk to me. I thought she'd be like, well, let's try this for a couple months. And
I think
if
the
it doesn't
surgeons, like, they're like,
They're all-
no,
she knows
let's get in there and let's figure this
the
out.
information that you gave her.
Yeah,
too,
well,
like,
I had my charting
Right.
from Dr. Chasuk. I had
She
done a
knew.
hormone profile. I had been working with the Napro doctor,
Right.
so it's not like I came in off the street and was like, hey, girl, let's have surgery.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Me, you, surgery.
Let's do this.
Pop that baby out and let's go. So I came in with my charts from Dr. Chasuk for like a year and a half-ish of charting, and I had been doing blood tests, and I had a hormone profile done. with the
But by
Napro
looking at
doctor.
your chart, what was she able to see by looking
Okay,
at your
so
chart?
she looked at my chart and she was like, I think you have endometriosis, I think you have polycystic ovarian syndrome. Like, no one had ever said that. They thought I had endometriosis.
That's crazy. I just
Nobody.
want to point that out, that like she had been seeing this other very good gynecologist, good doctor, who kept telling her things that were normal. Or things were normal.
Everything said everything.
Even she kind of figured they weren't. And here she is, the first day you met her, right?
Mm-hmm.
With her chart,
Actually giving you an answer.
saying like,
Yeah.
this is what I think that you
Right,
have.
right.
Like, let's do something about
And then
that.
she said she thought I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, which Dr. Chasuk had suspected before. Really, until she went in, she couldn't tell.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
But
no,
the
for
chart
sure.
gives a lot of this information.
Yeah, well, the
right?
chart helps them
Even
to
before
really
that.
like know which way to go and to know that, hey, look, something's not right here.
Yeah.
Something in your body isn't doing what it's supposed to be. So let's figure out what that is. And then when we can fix that, then you're going to have a much bigger likelihood of conceiving or feeling better or whatever
Right.
it is your goal is at the end of.
So how did surgery go? Like, what was your experience with surgery?
The actual surgery was great. No
Nobody
problem.
says that about surgery.
Well,
That's awesome.
the actual surgery. I was
You were sleeping.
I know.
So the actual
best
surgery
part.
was like
Yeah.
fabulous.
That first, like the surgery and day after, you're so
Yeah.
drugged up, you're like,
Yeah.
woo!
Well,
So bad.
I had a, I want to say like a 5-hour surgery, and she was like, yep, you have endometriosis, you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and
I know from experience,
Yeah.
after so many years of kind of having a feeling something
Yeah.
is not right.
Well,
I finally have that confirmed.
I'm like, the first time you said that in the office, I was like, you're right, I have all that stuff. I do.
But officially it was confirmed.
Yes, it was confirmed. So
surgery.
it's kind of about it. So she came back the next morning with pictures. I had endometriosis all over. It was crazy. I didn't even know I could do that. It was like holding all my organs together. Like
The scar
it had,
tissue.
yeah, it had them bounded together.
It does that.
Like, no wonder you weren't getting pregnant.
Right.
You wouldn't have with the IUI.
It's like squeezing everything.
That's the problem with the IUI and the IVF. It's like it's not fixing anything.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of times it's not even getting you pregnant.
Right.
So more often than not. And then she did an ovarian wedge resection for the polycystic ovarian syndrome, which that was the painful part for recovery.
Absolutely.
And so,
Which is also not something every doctor does.
Yeah.
But after doctors know how to, been trained by Dr. Holders to do it well.
Yeah. So
Nice.
my tubes are clear now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how has life been? How's your pain?
So life is good. We are pain-wise, I haven't had severe pain, but now I'm good. I still have some cramping, but I haven't really been doing a good job of like taking all my supplements. So
yeah, please introduce.
Introduce this little bundle of joy.
This is William Anthony.
Oh, his name's William.
Yes, her husband's name's William.
Oh yes, William Anthony
like
Liberto. He's a sweet little baby.
How
He's 2.5 weeks.
He's
very fresh.
Yes, and we just welcomed him into our family. I was still recovering from surgery. We met his birth mother, and she was placing him for adoption. And, my husband and I were like, hey, let's put ourselves out there, not thinking much of it. Here we are.
Wow.
With this beautiful baby boy.
Awesome.
Such a blessing. I actually grew up down the street from his birth mother. She's a really special woman, and she's amazing. I mean, she's so strong.
I've learned that about birth mothers too. They're kind of like the
Yeah.
forgotten people because they go through this huge, wonderful, beautiful sacrifice, and you just don't realize.
I mean,
sorry, we had to feed. Someone got hungry.
It was me.
She's good now.
Yeah. So we were just
they fed
talking
me.
about the blessing that William has been and awesomeness.
So it's been really great. But we did meet his birth mother about a month after my surgery. So and my husband also got a new job, and we're moving to St. Louis, Missouri. So yeah,
So lots of new things.
So lots of new things. So unfortunately, Napro and trying to conceive right now is just on the back burner. But he's almost 3 weeks old, and I'm gonna start getting back on that horse and get my body ready so that when my husband comes back from his 6-month training, we can start trying to get William a little sister. So notice I said sister.
She's very
Making
specific.
requests.
Yes, Napro can do that, but
No. That really helps.
Hey, Dallas, it's time to go, huh?
she's like,
awesome.
well, and I mean, like, what I love is that, without any prompting, like you said, actually, what we've been talking about is like charting. That's coming up. Charting is for everyone.
Right.
That's our next. So our next vlog is going to be about charting is for everyone, and she's bringing up all these points for that. Actually, whether we do this after or before it, but it goes along with that really well because no matter what, you should be doing this for your health.
Absolutely.
So and like all the benefits you've already seen from doing it. Even though, like, necessarily the ultimate, like we would talk about, the ultimate, like, blessing would be the child, but, like, really what's so important is to get you healthy first,
Absolutely. And I'm a different person than I was 2 years ago.
Amazing. Which is amazing. So, and that's where, because people have said the same thing to me, like, why haven't you guys done IVF or IUI? And I truly believe that my body wouldn't even be able to sustain a pregnancy, unless I was healthy. So,
I feel the same way. I think even if I did get pregnant, my body's not healthy enough. My body doesn't, I'm not pregnant, and I've never been pregnant because my body's not healthy enough to do what it needs to do to get pregnant. And that's not my fault. It's just how my body is. It's how it was made. Napro is all about figuring out how to make your body work the way it's supposed to, and hopefully get my ultimate goal, which is to conceive a child, or at the very least just become a much healthier, happier person.
And like to think that, and this isn't, we talk about this all the time, we're not knocking, non-trained Napro doctors, but just the difference in the care that you've received, and the fact that, like, this is what women, we say it all the time, this is what women's healthcare should look like. this is what you should want. This is, I mean, how drastically it's changed your life in the past 2 years, and like just getting healthier. Like, it's so important to be healthy. It's so important to know your body and understand your body. And this is why we want to raise awareness, so that those gynecologists who aren't Napro trained want to get Napro trained, because they're like, wow, I have more answers for my patients, you know, like. So, and we never want to dog on those doctors. They're great doctors. It's just, this is new information. Well, it's really not new.
Right.
It's not new
at
it's
all.
Just,
but
it's something, I feel like it's the best kept secret in infertility, and it shouldn't be. To be able to sit down with a doctor and go, these are my concerns about my body, and for him to go, okay, well, let's address those and figure out what's going on, and to not say, oh, you're okay, or oh, that's normal, when you know it's not. But how do you argue with someone with a doctor, what a medical license, like,
which is so frustrating as a woman. It's like it's this silencing you, because you're like, I know something's wrong, I know there's something going on in my body, but like, I have to just be silent because this person is telling me, and they're trained. So I mean, what am I going to do? What am I going to say?
That's exactly what happened with my gynecologist. He sat there and he told me why I was wrong, and why I wasn't going to get pregnant, and why I was going to come crawling back to him to get me pregnant.
Which is interesting, because he didn't do any investigating.
No.
What did he do?
He told me I was perfectly
fine. He told you did he give you birth control, or he didn't even tell you?
I've never been on birth control before.
Did he examine you? Did he run any blood work? Did he do anything?
No blood work.
He maybe did an examination, a physical examination.
My yearly.
Yeah. So like, how would he even know?
Yeah. Well, because so many women are being mistreated that the norm is actually not normal. If we can get doctors in the mindset that infertility is not a diagnosis, I'm sure y'all have said this before, infertility is a symptom of something bigger. And in my body, it was a symptom of a lot of bigger things. A lot of bigger things. No one had ever said the words endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, low hormones, low progesterone.
Yeah, most people don't even know what those things are. Yeah, it's really sad.
Like when I learned all the things it took to get pregnant and all the things that didn't work in that system, I was like, oh, well, no wonder.
Well, and that it's all interconnected. Like we talk about that all the time, is that our body is interconnected. Like it's not just like insurance companies. I say this in our presentation, like, when I first started looking into getting things covered, it was like, if you're infertile, it's not covered. And it's like, almost like this part of our body is not connected to the rest of the body, so it's like, well, anything that goes on with your female, reproductive system, I mean, like it's just, that's not us. And it's like, but it affects everything else. It affects our health. It affects, I mean, high blood pressure, high cholesterol.
Sorry, I'm getting smiles. She likes what you're saying.
You like it? Yeah, see? It's all interconnected, right?
Yeah.
So, well, I'm just so excited that we got to grab you before you went to Missouri.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thank you for sharing your heart and everything in it.
So much good information, and there's going to be so many women that are affected by your story and that can relate to your story. So it's just extremely important to talk, and this is why we're going to start doing more interviews on a monthly basis with real people who have real stories, and it's really awesome. Super real.
Chaotic mess, but real.
Which is, we love and is all good. So, but thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for sharing everything, and please tell your husband thank you for letting us hear your story as well. And and we can't wait we're gonna check back with you.
Sure, absolutely.
Let me keep in touch.
Yeah, now that the adoption stuff is settled, we're gonna get back on our Napro horse, and with the surgery, we have an extremely increased chance of conceiving.
Absolutely.
So now's the time.
Absolutely.
So when he gets back in 6 months, we'll see what happens.
Right. My sister, I've talked about Kim before. Kim had an ovarian wedge resection, and 5 months later, now they were in the same place.
Yeah.
She was able to conceive, and so I have a niece. So there's so much success with surgery. If you have to get surgery, because not everybody does. So I mean, we are next week. What are we talking about?
Who knows? It'll be something very interesting.
Yes. Oh yeah, and we've got an interview. No, we don't have any interviews. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, y'all. We'll have a wonderful day.
Yes.
We're so glad that you could come and join us and hear this beautiful woman's story. And we will be back with more information soon. So,
so subscribe to us on YouTube and share us.
subscribe,
Yes,
please.
let this woman's journey help someone, you or someone you know, and you can do that by sharing us with others and stuff. So we will talk to you guys